Hey everybody, my name is Jason and I have an eBay store titled Little C Sports Cards. If you can't tell from the t-shirt, the name of the store, or the title of this video, I sell sports cards on eBay. Been selling sports cards on eBay since February of 2023. I had a couple other smaller stores. My main store is Little C Sports Cards. I kind of combined every store that I have into one large store. Now, I'm not a huge seller of sports cards on eBay. In terms of like high end stuff, I'm not selling any graded cards. I'm not selling any memorabilia cards or jersey cards. I'm not selling any autograph cards. Primarily selling like low end sports cards. People that build sets, low end inserts, low end star cards, things like that. And when I started in February 2003, the main shipping method I used then and now, and I'm sure that everybody who does sell on eBay or who is a sports card collector who buys or whatever, for those of you that do that thing that are watching this video, I use the eBay standard envelope for trading cards, or ESE. Some people refer to it as a plain white envelope. Some people refer to it as a PWE, whatever acronym you want to use. So I've been using primarily the 1 ounce method. It's one card, envelope, ship, not a problem. I'd been doing that from February of 2023 to March of 2024. In March of 2024, I started having issues where my shipments were coming back stamped as either non-machinable or postage due. It was weird to me because all my shipments from, essentially the last 12, 13 months have gone through without an issue. I haven't had any problems whatsoever. Other than the occasional card goes missing and somebody files an INR, which is an item not received request, and I refund them, not a big deal, whatever. Happens to everybody who sells low-end cards on eBay. It's just a thing. So I was able to get in contact with our facility manager for our largest post office in Fargo, which is Prairie Wood Station. Facility manager at the time, her name is Jessica Bailey. When I made that appointment to speak with Jessica, I was also able to catch the postmaster of Fargo or North Dakota, or Cal, I think it's up North Dakota, Patrick Volk. And we talked at the time. I brought in kind of one of my shipments and, what am I having an issue with here, because it's worked for, a year. And I'm basically shipping a card at that time, a card in what is called a top loader. I know there's going to be some people who sell on eBay. This is going to be trading card forms. I don't know where it's going to end up. You guys are like, we know what this is, Jason. Come on, we're not. But there's probably going to be people that don't know anything about trading cards watching this. It's might be an education for them. So some of this is, layman's terms to you. Roll with me on it. So I've been shipping stuff in a top loader like this. So it's essentially a card taped like this in an envelope. And you can see when it's in an envelope, it kind of looks like this. Nothing too thick, nothing out of the ordinary, but you can see it doesn't have a lot of bend. So when I talked with Jessica and Patrick, they said that these shipments are jamming up the machine and causing an issue. How are they doing that? Because they have gone through without an issue for the whole last 13 months. Well, it doesn't meet the guidelines of USPS in terms of thickness, rigidness, whatever. I said, but it does. It's the right thickness. It's got some give. It's under an ounce. One envelope with a card like this is a half an ounce. When you use the ESE method when shipping for eBay, there's 3 options: a 1 ounce option, a 2 ounce option, and a 3 ounce option. I said before, I'm using just the 1 ounce option. They said, well, you can't put that through. You just can't do that. Everybody else can in America. Why can't I? It's just too thick. It just doesn't meet the guidelines. You just can't do it. Okay, but you can put a birthday card with a gift card. You can put through a credit card if you get a credit card. What do they use for postage? Well, they use a first class postage, which is essentially the same price of a stamp. Okay, what's the difference in thickness between that and this with a card in it? The other shipping options I just talked about with like a birthday card or a credit card to get in the mail are thicker than this. They don't have the flexibility like this does. Argued my case as best as I could. I met up with another local collector through some of my buying and selling that was having the same issue. We both pleaded our case to the post office. No, done deal. You can't use a top loader. I know what some of you are thinking. There's probably eBay sellers that are watching this right now saying, I use a top loader all the time. I don't have a problem. Kudos to you, because we can't do that here in North Dakota. So then I asked if we could use what is called a card saver. This is a obviously card saver with a card in it, but much more flexible than the top loader. You can see it in an envelope here. Much more bend than the top loader. Can we use this? Well, I don't know if it'll fit through the machine. Well, why don't we test it out and see? So Jessica and Patrick brought out a scale. They brought out calipers. They brought out a little mail slot tool about this big that you can put mail through, and it met all of the qualifications for USPS in terms of readiness, weight, etc. Not a problem. I'll move to that. I just bought a $10 case of 10,000 top loaders. You know what? I won't even use them. Fine, we'll go to card savers. I'll spend more money because I love doing this. So I started using the card savers. Once again, other than the occasional item goes missing, no problems. From March of 2024 till February 2nd, 2026. I noticed on February 2nd, 2026, none of my shipments that I had dropped off had scanned through. Typically, when you use the ESE method for trading cards for eBay, when you drop them off at your local post office, they're supposed to fit through the sorting machine. And when they go through the sorting machine, you will get a scan notice, or on eBay, and it'll say something like origin scan, or in transit, or something like that. And it would go through and say Fargo, North Dakota for every shipment that I did. That night, I noticed that didn't happen. I opened my mail on the 4th of February, and I noticed another stack of returns, just like this in this picture. No other notes on them other than a Post-it note with nothing written that says non-machinable surcharge, and there was no amount listed. Interesting, I haven't had a problem for 2 years. I took that pile of returns and I went to Prairie Wood Station, and I spoke to a clerk named Rick. And I told him my story and say, hey, here's what's going on. I spoke with Patrick and Jessica a couple of years ago. Haven't had any issues. What changed? He said, I ship Pokemon cards myself. I do some selling online. I haven't really had any issues. Probably someone downtown at the sorting facility that just had a bad day, didn't want to put anything through the machine that day. Okay, fair enough. Can I speak with Jessica so I can kindly remind her that we had talked about this 2 years prior? Well, Jessica's not here right now. Okay, can I make an appointment with her? He said no. He told me at that point that she is the interim postmaster general. Not postmaster general, the interim postmaster of North Dakota. Apparently we go through a postmaster every year in Fargo. I said, okay, well, I'll send her an email. I have her email on file from the last time we talked. And he suggested that I try to speak with a manager downtown. And he gave me the phone number of the downtown post office. And I called and spoke with a gentleman named Dondi Koning. Now, I want to state that Dondi has been nothing but professional this entire time with helping me out, trying to come up with options that will make things work. And he has been very helpful, and I want to point that out. I let him know the situation, and he says, God, every once in a while we have, a local business in town that also sells collectibles and paperback type items that ships cards, and they're having some issues with this. Bring them in, we can get them through. There shouldn't be an issue. It meets all the requirements. He asked if I'm trying to put 2 cards through at a time, and I said no. If I try to put multiple things through, I up my ounce, I up everything, or I put it in a padded envelope and use that method. What do you think happened, Dondi? And he said it's potentially somebody downtown didn't know how to run the sorting machine, or just didn't want to push them through that day. You drop them off. Let's see what happens with these. If they come back, bring them downtown, and we can take the next steps. Fine. I dropped them off that night. They went through without an issue. crisis solved. It's just somebody that's having a bad day at the sorting facility, right? I sell a fair amount of cards every day. I probably average 20 to 30 shipments a day, and I ship Monday through Saturday. I'm dropping something off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So from the ones that I dropped off the second, the ones on the third went through, ones on the fourth went through, etc. Every day that I shipped something, cards went through till we got to the 22nd of February. Then I noticed that I wasn't getting any scans on any of my cards then. I got a pile of returns again on the 25th. So I went to Prairie Wood again. They said, go through the process, call downtown, talk to Dondi. I talked to Dondi again. He said, gosh, I really don't know what's going on. It just might be somebody, just a rogue person downtown who just doesn't know what's going on. If you have any issues, bring them down here to me. I'll make sure that they go through. Okay, fair enough. Sent Jessica Bailey, who now at this time I was told had now been promoted to postmaster. I sent her a second email. So I sent her one on the 4th or 5th, and then I sent her one again on the 25th, letting her know, hey, I'm still having this issue and you haven't responded. I really need to get this figured out. Dondi has suggested, why don't I send her a letter? This is a copy of the letter that I sent her. It's a 2-page letter with examples of some of the issues myself, the same local collector 2 years ago are having. Sent it to her and it was delivered. No response. So I decided to take it upon myself to file a complaint through the USPS complaint system when you go online and do a phone call and file a formal complaint. I filed a formal complaint against Prairie Wood Station and the downtown post office regarding these issues that I was having. I spoke with an individual for 45 minutes laying out all the issues that I was having. I assumed I wasn't going to hear anything back, but I received an email a couple days later on the 28th of February from Christian Thorolakis. If I'm pronouncing the name wrong, I apologize. They're going to look into the issue. Someone will get back to me. Finally, on the 5th of March, I received a phone call from the person who is now Prairie Wood's facility manager, Jonathan Leducer. Jonathan and I talked for 45 minutes roughly regarding these issues that I was having. I took him back to 2 years prior. I took him back to what I'm seeing now. I took him and let him know that if I go and I drop the ones that get returned off, they go through. Is it just a rogue person that's doing this? Is someone doesn't like me? Is it someone who's trying to prove a point? Or is it someone who thinks they're king of the sorting facility machine? He had suggested maybe potentially trying some of the non-machinable postage when I sent some of these items through. Countered him with, I have sent some through with the non-machinable postage. I still get them back marked non-machinable. So the other interesting thing is I sold 2 cards to my wife. My wife created an eBay account, went and bought 2 cards for me. I put absolutely nothing in the envelope, basically a blank envelope with my wife's name and our home address on it. They were returned as non-machinable. Now, I'm not a genius, I'm far from it, but you would think an envelope that has no weight to it, other than nothing but a thermal label, should go through without an issue. He told me at that point on the 5th to give him a couple of days. He would speak with Jessica. He said, I'll speak with the sorting facility manager. He said, I don't know if it's a instance of we have to hang a sign up in the sorting facility that these need to go through or whatnot. He did point out the fact that he doesn't make that decision. He is not a sorting facility manager. He did point out the fact that Dondi Koning is not a sorting facility manager. And he also pointed out that Rick, one of the clerks that I spoke with, was not a facility manager. He said he would get with the facility manager and with Jessica. He asked if I can send him some samples. I said I sent Jessica one already. He said he'd get with her. He asked if I could send him some pictures to his email. I said I can do you one better. I'll send you not only pictures, but I'll send you a YouTube video that goes through the entire process of what I have to go through for shipping. He said give him 3 days to a week. I said, fine, you guys are busy, you got a lot going on, that's fine. We get to today, which is the 13th of March. Yesterday on the 12th of March, I received another pile of returns wrapped in a rubber band listed as non-machinable. I went to Prairiewood Station. I spoke with a nice clerk there. Did not manage to catch her name. That's because I was super aggravated at the time. Explained to her the issue and asked if I could talk to Jonathan Leducer. He's not here right now. He's on vacation for 2 weeks. I find that interesting because he was going to get an answer for me regarding this issue, but failed to mention to me that he was going to be on vacation during that time. Then asked, can I speak with Jessica Bailey? She said, Jessica's office is downtown. Okay. She suggested, why don't you go downtown and talk to Dondi and kind of go through this because he's a really good guy. He might know what's going on. So I went down today, the 13th, to talk to Dondi again. This is the first time he and I have met in person. Seemed like a very pleasant conversation, seemed like a nice guy. I told him what was going on. I said I got another pile of returns. I created a case. I spoke with Jonathan. I'd like to speak with Jessica. Jessica is also on vacation for a couple of weeks. My question is, how was anybody going to look into this when they're all on vacation? I'm only going to assume that it was a planned vacation. Maybe it was an emergency. I'm going to guess based on my past experiences, no, it was just let's appease this guy for right now, and we're not going to tell him that we're on vacation, but maybe that's just me assuming. So after speaking with Dondi, I let him know that, hey, here's kind of where I'm at standing with this. When I ship an eBay shipment, I have a handling time that I have to meet as part of my metrics. I'm not meeting these handling times because these are getting returned. They're not getting a scan. I drop them back in the mailbox and they're getting scanned a week later or whenever. So my handling times have 3 to 5 business days. I'm not meeting those metrics, so I'm getting dinged on eBay. When I get dinged on eBay, I can lose my top seller status. When I lose my top seller status, I could potentially get put into probation with eBay. When I get put into probation with eBay, sometimes they'll hold payments for up to 30 days. They'll hold payments till the item is delivered or the person leaves feedback. But if my items aren't getting delivered, they're not scanning, they're not getting delivered, I'm not getting any money. I'm losing money. I asked, what can we do in the meantime? He gave me a couple of suggestions in terms of how to pack my envelope for right now. He also suggested putting on the non-machinable postage until Jonathan and Jessica get back in the office to make a decision. He stated that the only internal discussions that he had seen at this time was the card saver is thicker than it used to be, which is causing an issue with jamming the machines. The interesting part is I bought 2 cases of card savers in February or March of 2024 when Jessica and Patrick said we could use these. I bought like 40,000 of them, I think it was, or how many ever case, or whatever it is to a case. I bought like 40,000 of these. They're the exact same thickness because it's the exact same protector I've been using, the exact same thing I've been using 2 years ago, and the exact same everything that I've been using this year. So it's a very long story, but the purpose of this video is for you collectors out there that are watching this. What am I doing wrong? It seems to be like anybody that I talk to, Fargo is the only place in the United States that's having this issue with shipping cards. What can I be doing differently? Is the card saver not enough? Should it be $1.32? What am I doing? Because this does meet the requirements. Like I said, my postmaster and the facility manager measured. They did everything they're supposed to do. It meets the requirements of USPS to fit through the sorting machine. If you're local or in North Dakota or in Fargo, I ask, please spread this video. I've been collecting cards since I've been 5 years old, and I'm going to turn 43 here in a couple of weeks. I collect cards with my 5-year-old daughter. My 5-year-old daughter loves running this eBay store with me. She thinks it's the most amazing thing in the world. My wife, who finds all of this battle with the post office extremely frustrating, also likes doing this. We've kind of made it a family affair. I've got to know a whole ton of people in a lot of different states, made a lot of friends doing this eBay store and doing collecting. Please ask that you spread this wherever you can. Friends, family, whomever. I need a resolution from the post office. Whatever it takes, I need them to say, hey, this is what you need to do to ship a card to go up to the sorting facility or needing to tell me, no, you can't ship anything like this anymore. But then I want an explanation as to why other post office in the United States, other people that sell on eBay, do not have this problem at all. I don't think that it's fair that I should have to be fighting this, what seems on a yearly basis, usually around February and March. I have my suspicions why that is, but I'm not going to say for right now. Why I've got to do this every spring, I have to fight with the post office about something. If you guys do a search for North Dakota Post Office or Prairiewood Station in Fargo, you could see all of the documented problems that Fargo and North Dakota have had with their post office the past couple of years. I can tell you it's like a Law and Order episode. It's so bad. It's pretty disgusting and horrible. Please help spread this. Please get it out there. Please.